What's up? Welcome into episode 2 of A Few Rows Up. My name is Preston. We got a good show for you today. Let's talk about what did not make the show. Utah almost beating BYU in basketball this past week. That did not make the show because that was AI. And you've all been fooled. Don't beat yourself up. It is a tricky technology. We're all getting used to it, but that did not happen. Another thing that did not make the show was Indy the Dog winning Best Performance in a Horror Film at the Astra Film Awards. This was for the movie Good Boy. It's a horror movie based around a dog. This is probably Ethan Hawke and Allison Brie's lowest point of their career, losing to a dog. But if you've seen the behind the scenes of that movie, it's literally the director who owns the dog snapping his fingers and the dog looks over. It's a cool movie. A dog winning an award. I mean, do you give him like a bone? Like, what do you do for that? Anyways, did not make the show. What did make the show is we have a review. If you would like to leave a review on this podcast, I promise you we will get to it. And the review of today comes from Higher Ed King. 5 stars. Thank you. They said this podcast has the energy of someone pacing in their kitchen at midnight, explaining playoff scenarios to a fridge that didn't ask. And yet, I'm seated, I'm listening, I'm nodding. 5 stars. Episode 1 already has cult leader potential. If this man ever adds a co-host, I will protest. Well, Higher Ed King, I appreciate the review. I have some good news and bad news for you. The good news is that we will be talking all things playoffs in this episode. The bad news for you is that I have a guest on today. Steven, a good friend of mine, knows a ton about college football. He is, however, a Ohio State fan, so be sure to give him some crap in the comments. So maybe bad news for you, good news for everybody else, because Steven is the best. But we got a good show for you today. Be sure to like, rate, and review. This is A Few Rows Up. All right, making his series debut of A Few Rows Up, my good friend and college football aficionado, Steven Napper. Steven, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
I want to talk about these games, and there's a lot of good college football happening, but I want to talk about you. I know it might be a couple of rough weeks for you. Have you healed yet from the loss?
Man, partly. Like, just watching the playoff itself, I feel like it just, like, hurts a little bit, knowing what could have been, especially seeing Indiana and Miami in the championship. It's like, okay, these are 2 teams that we lost to, the only 2 teams. So it's like, I don't know. It's tough.
Well, then let me ask you, what's your assessment on Ohio State season? Because, like, for me, you know, I have the hat on, the Pop-Tarts Bowl champions. This is probably the best BYU season of my entire life. But for you, I mean, how do you as an Ohio State fan treat this kind of end to a season?
It's tough because, like, I feel like a lot of us are just biased and to a fault, because it's like we're not going to win the championship every year. But I just feel like when you're in Columbus, you grow up there, it's like that's what you expect. I mean, it was a great season. Like, obviously, we were in the playoff. We had a first-round bye, so we didn't actually get a playoff win. I think that's what hurts the most. It's like if we would have got one playoff win, cool. But overall, I think the season was good. Obviously, like, I can't complain. We beat Michigan, but I don't know. It's like I give it a B minus.
B minus. Okay.
Yeah, I give it a
That's
B minus.
good. Do you think you guys will come back strong next season?
I think so. I'm seeing a lot of people leaving the portal, but it's, I wouldn't say lower level talent. It's younger guys. So that's a little nerve wracking, but I think we'll come back stronger.
Nice. Well, let's get into these games. Obviously, the semifinal happened this last week. Ole Miss and Miami. What's your general thoughts on the Ole Miss and Miami game?
It was crazy. It was probably one of the best college football games, in terms of the playoffs at least, that I've seen. Because, like, it was just back and forth. I legitimately, at the end of that game, thought the Ole Miss was going to win somehow. Like, that last, like, 2-minute drive, like, Trinidad Chambliss got them all the way down to, like, what, the 30?
Yeah.
I was like, this guy's about to do it. Like, I don't like, that's crazy. He came from like the D2 school.
And they did it the week before too. So you're
Yeah.
like, if these guys have shown that they can pull off anything that is necessary to win the
Yeah.
game. So I just think with how that game started with 2, 3 and outs, it's just you got to come out stronger than that. I know it's early in the game, but
Yeah.
against a team like Miami, who I don't know if you even consider it house money anymore. Like they beat A&M at A&M, they beat Ohio State,
Yeah.
and they beat Ole Miss, and it's like maybe this team is actually
Legit.
really good. It's
Yeah.
weird. It's weird that they didn't make their conference championship game, and
Yeah. ACC's got some funky rules going. So that's,
let's go Duke. Um, And then, I think a big story of this game was third downs. You look at Miami, who were 11 of 19 on third downs, and Ole Miss was 2 of 10.
yeah.
11 of 19, I mean, that just shows that they totally controlled this game. They were 2 of 2 on fourth down as well. So those long drives, I think their time of possession in this game was 41 minutes to Ole
That's
Miss's
insane.
18.
That's crazy.
Ole Miss kind of just lived and died off of the big plays.
Yeah.
Their
Literally.
their first touchdown was that 73-yard run by Lacey. I think he might have like hurt his hammy on that run or something.
Something. But
But like, and then I think 4 different receivers had a reception of 20 plus yards for Ole Miss.
yeah.
So they were just like, they couldn't get first downs, but they were just throwing it down the field. They
Getting
were
big
trying,
plays.
yeah, trying to get the big plays. Ultimately, it didn't seem like it did them a ton of favors in the result of this game, but they were right there. I don't know. Do you think that play at the end was a pass interference?
Low key, I think it was, but I do respect a ref's decision to not call that because it's the end of the game. I mean, you really just got to let them play at that point because no way you're going to decide a playoff game on a pass interference. I mean,
Yeah.
people can argue like, okay, well, they'll get the play back, but it's like it's a completely different circumstance if they get a pass interference there. So that's fair enough. Like, let them play through that.
I totally agree with you. And I think they were actually, I think the refs, they weren't like in favor of Ole Miss, but I think there were
Mm.
much more calls against Miami in this game. So
Oh
you
yeah,
can't say like, oh, the refs cheated Ole Miss or anything like that. Bang bang play. It's obviously a toss up. They were both hand fighting before that too.
yeah,
You saw the tug though on the shoulder pad, and I think that right there is a pretty big indication of pass interference. But I agree. I don't think you call that there. I think you let the players
yeah.
decide. And in a physical game, the defensive player and the offensive player are both being physical. We can just see how this plays out. And he had a shot at it.
You did.
So, but what a game. I don't know. Any other thoughts on Ole Miss and Miami? I know you lost to Miami. Do you think that they played better or worse in this one?
Honestly, I mean, they have been living up to like the standard of what they said, so I don't think they necessarily like played worse. I feel like our O line isn't the best or where it needs to be, and obviously Ole Miss's is. And I think that just kind of tells you a lot. And that's why I'm kind of a little bit worried about Miami going up against Indiana because that O line is nuts. So
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. And this is, I mean, SEC in the postseason of college football,
atrocious.
atrocious. That's that is the word. We got this comment from George on the YouTube show. He said, "Great show, man. Thanks, George. Appreciate you." He said, "In my opinion, the SEC should be getting much more hate than Texas Tech and the Big 12. They got 5 teams in and only one to the semis and none to the Natty. Super overrated, and the playoff would have been more interesting with more Big 12 teams. The days of SEC dominance are over thanks to the portal." A couple things here. I think George says this would have been more interesting with more Big 12 teams.
Mm,
You just, but like you got to think like, okay, well, who are they replacing? You can make the argument for BYU. We've been making the
yeah.
argument all season, but Miami was the last team in, and they're in the championship. So you can't really hate on that. And then Alabama, they did win a game in the playoff, but
It was against another SEC, so
yeah, there
it
you
didn't do
go.
him any favors.
That's true. That's true. The Big 12, they started off strong in bowl season. Obviously, BYU beat Georgia Tech. Houston beat LSU. TCU beat USC. Utah beat Nebraska. But that's literally all that they did. So, I mean, Arizona State lost a thriller to Duke. Cincinnati got killed by Navy. I think it's kind of like a weird statement. It'd probably only make sense in the context of college sports, saying Cincinnati got killed by Navy. Arizona lost to SMU, and of course, Texas Tech lost to Oregon. So I see Georgia's point. I see that the SEC dominance might be over, but I
Yeah.
don't know if you can quite compare it to the Big 12 in like worthiness of the playoff. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Stephen?
Honestly, I get where he's coming from, and I do definitely agree. Like the SEC dominance is it's dying hard. Um, like I believe it was Coach O said it. He's like, you can't pay people through the back door anymore. Everybody's just going to the front. So agent NIL, people are just going wherever the money is, and yeah, it's like it's not the most profitable to go to the SEC. I get like they have contracts with like ESPN stuff like that, but being in the South isn't too attractive, I would think. So, I mean, not necessarily just Big 12 teams, but just like Big 10, Big 12, ACC, even some group of five schools are going to come out and start surprising people just because they have alumni with money or they have some sort of affiliation with, some bigger company or we're seeing private equity with Utah. Like things like that are going to start opening the doors to just crazy teams getting into the playoffs. So, yeah, I think the years of even just one conference being overtly dominant is just kind of up.
Yeah. Are you, as a Big Ten Ohio State guy, are you worried about that? Or do you feel like Ohio State is buying into the NIL thing just as much as anybody and they're just going to retain the level of dominance?
Yeah, I think we definitely bought into NIL pretty hard. I know up there we have the foundation, which is literally just like rich alumni from Ohio, just funneling in money. So I don't think they're going to have an issue. Um, so I think the Big Ten, especially as a whole conference, is buying in hard to the NIL thing.
Well, I mean, it seems like Indiana sure is.
Oh yeah,
They had so many transfers this last year, and I think their average age is 25 or 26 on that team. I could be
yeah,
wrong,
they got some
but
super seniors.
yeah. So let's talk about Indiana and Oregon. To me, it seemed like everybody was eating in this game for Indiana. What are your general thoughts on this game?
Honestly, I thought usually you hear the thing like playing a team twice is hard, you know, but Indiana looked even better this time around against Oregon.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the logic of like, okay, well, if it's hard to play a team twice, then it's like you can probably beat a team pretty easily. If you already beat them once, you know what they're going to do. And
Hmm.
that's exactly what they did. And it's insane seeing how good Indiana is now because, like, it's not just like an elite pass game. They can run the ball. The O line's getting like second, third level, like every play. Defense is all over the place. It's like, it was just a slaughter. And then from what Oregon did against Texas Tech to then turning around and doing that just shows like different levels of talent.
Absolutely. There's levels to this, as some would say. And
Yeah.
Mendoza, obviously, he did his thing. I think he only had like 177 yards of passing, but he had 5 touchdowns to 4 different receivers. Like you can just take your pick on
Yeah.
this Indiana team of who is insanely talented, and you'll probably get it right. 4 different receivers get a touchdown. Black ran for 2 touchdowns. The defense got a touchdown. I mean, this was just like, this looked like a game that we'd play in college football 26
Oh, yeah.
EA. So, I don't know. It looks to me like the Big Ten is about to have its third straight title with three different teams. What do they say about the SEC? Like, it just means more? Isn't that like
Yeah,
the thing with the SEC? I don't know. Does the Big Ten
something
have
like that.
something? Because whatever the Big Ten is doing, it seems to be working. I mean, I don't know
I
if you
don't.
want to. You probably don't want to talk about the Michigan win too much, but seems like seems like the Big Ten is doing something right. Any other thoughts on this Indiana Oregon game? I know it was kind of a slaughter, and there's not a ton to talk about with it. It's just Indiana's dominant, and Oregon lost very quickly,
Yeah,
and they didn't really capitalize on any of that. So,
honestly, I mean, I just kind of feel bad for Oregon fans at this point because it seems like their team is not necessarily all smoke and mirrors, but it's like they always get like a nice portal class, some five stars coming in from high school, all these things, the bells and whistles, the fancy uniforms from Nike. You come out, you play your schedule, you look good, and then you go to the playoff, and something like this happens every year. Like last year was Ohio State blew them out, Indiana blows them out this year. It's like it's tough. Like at this point, I would want to see them like win one just to like get over the hump, so they're not getting bashed on the head. It's like I saw the comments after that game. It's rough.
as the fan base, are they a little disgruntled about it, or are they just like, "Hey, we look good and we're getting here a lot"? Or do you think this fan base is getting tired? Do you think like they need to change something, or do you think that this is just kind of what Oregon is just like competing against every year, and they're just not going to be as good enough as those other teams?
Honestly, I think the fans are a little bit disgruntled. 'Cause I feel like there's definitely some of that entitlement in certain fans where it's like they're kind of like us, where it's like, hey, like we need more, and we're just not getting that. Like we need to change something, but it's like, what do you change? Like Dan Lanning's a good coach. If you're getting good players, it's just I don't know, you're not getting the result every time, but it is happening on a consistent basis now. So I do see where they're coming from.
Yeah. Could this be one of those teams that can be replaced by a BYU in the playoffs, or, a Utah? Could this be one of those teams that, they've kind of been perennial contenders in the playoff, but do you think that they could possibly be replaced in the coming years?
I think so. I mean, because after so long, you're going to set a reputation for yourself. And if
Right.
people are looking for, championships and Dan Lanning can't get it done, then eventually they will move on from him. And then who knows where they go from there. So it is one of those teams. And I kind of, for the Big Ten, I would call it like the Penn State effect, where it's
Mm.
like you're looking at James Franklin. They were good, kept being good. Then all of a sudden it just blew up one year and they're like, okay, you're out. They definitely are showing some signs of that. Hopefully it doesn't go down that route, but I could see that happening to them.
Yeah, it didn't seem to work out in Penn State's favor, at least right away. That
Yeah,
that coaching search was a
rough.
disaster class. That
Yeah.
was tough. I mean, it seemed like everybody was just using the Penn State interview to get leverage for their own jobs, and so maybe Oregon looks at that and they're like, "Hey, we're good with our guy for now." So,
Yeah.
um, anyways, thank you so much for being on, Steven. Have a good rest of your day, man.
Thanks, you too, man.
NFL playoffs this week. Wow, that was really fun. Started us off with the Rams and Panthers. I predicted this to be a multiple score game, a win for the Rams. It was a fantastic game. It wasn't a blowout, and it ended up being a game winning drive by Matthew Stafford and the Rams. Matthew Stafford is so cool. They're down 27 to 31 on the road with about 2 minutes left, and he delivers, like he always does, a drive of perfection. It was practically flawless. Just listen to how the drive went. They get the punt, then there's a 7 yard pass to Puka, a 10 yard pass to Adams, the 2 minute warning, then a 6 yard pass to Adams, an 18 yard pass to Puka. And this was about the time that I realized that the Panthers were pretty committed to this bend don't break defense. They were playing very far off the ball, off the receivers. And the thing I've learned about bend don't break is eventually you break. And I understand it because, you're up by 4, so the Rams need a touchdown, but you still got to, tighten up. You got to do what's been working the whole game. That's just my opinion. And after that, there's the first incompletion of the drive, and now there's about a minute left, and the Rams are on the Panthers' 30-yard line. And then Matthew Stafford completes an 11-yard pass to Mumpfield, their rookie. He was just kind of dealing to everybody. He has Puka and Adams, but then Mumpfield gets a big reception. And then on a no huddle, after driving down the field, Stafford delivers an absolute dot to Parkinson, who made a great catch. This was one of those indefensible, perfect throw, perfect catch kind of plays, and they win the game. You got to give credit to Bryce Young and the Panthers. I think nobody really expected them to be here at the start of the season, and they ended up, proving people wrong and giving the Rams, who many consider Super Bowl favorites, a run for their money. Now people are worrying about the Rams, and they're saying, they had a close game with the Panthers. Maybe they can be beat. Look, this is the playoffs. And actually, personally, I have more confidence in the Rams after this game because of what Stafford showed, because of what the play calling showed. Just when it matters most, they win the games. And that's what I saw in this game. Another game-winning drive happened on Saturday night with the Bears and Packers. Never a doubt. Never a doubt. I knew the Bears were going to win this game. I said they would win this one. They were down 21-3, and they won the game. I want to say this. Brandon McManus, the kicker for the Packers, come on, man. That was not a good showing. And I know Brandon McManus has had really good games in the past. He's a good kicker, but he left 7 points off the board. And in these games against the Bears, where every single time they play, it's decided by one possession, that's massive. And when a kicker misses a game-winning kick, we often say, well, you got to look at the team for putting him in that situation. Like, it's not just on one guy, blah, blah, blah. I think in this case, it's the exact opposite. I think the Packers were in that situation because of their kicker. McManus misses a 55-yard field goal to end the half. I know that's a long one, so I'll give him credit for that. But that would have put them up by 3 full touchdowns. Then, in the fourth quarter, with the Bears coming back, the Packers get a touchdown, and it feels like they got momentum back. I think they're up by 12 at that point, but it feels like they've regained momentum, they've stopped the bleeding. And then McManus missed the PAT. And what that does is it just allows the stadium to come back to life. And sure enough, the Bears, right after that, just march down and score a touchdown really quick, and they get a 2-point conversion to cut the deficit to 3. It could have been 4, but it's 3. The Packers then put together a little drive. They burn a couple of the Bears' timeouts, and with a little under 3 minutes left, they have to settle for a field goal, which is fine. He'd missed the first 2 wide left, so, as you can guess, maybe he overcorrected a little bit, but he pushes this one. It's only a 44-yarder. He pushes it wide right. Now this game completely belongs to the Bears. The Packers could have been up by 6, and the Bears would have had to go score a touchdown. It was kind of like that scenario in Carolina. But now the Packers are only up by 3, and it completely changes the aggression for the defense. It changes everything. And the thing about the Bears, too, is before this game, they had 6 game-winning drives this season in the fourth quarter or overtime. One of them already happening against Green Bay. And sure enough, they go down, and they score a touchdown. And now they're up by 4. They could have been up by 3 if he had just made the PAT. They could have been up by 1 if he had made the field goal on the previous drive. But now the Bears are up by 4. So it gives the Packers no option to kick to tie. They have to score a touchdown. And they get down there into like the red zone area. Maybe it was around the 30. I don't really remember, but this would have been a perfect situation to kick a field goal to send it to overtime, but they couldn't do that because their kicker left 7 points off the board, and they end up having to hoist one into the end zone, and they lose the game. So, not great for Green Bay, but two very good games on Saturday. It started off very strong again on Sunday with the Bills and Jaguars, and this game started in Jacksonville's favor. They ran the ball. They realized that the Bills have an average pass defense and a abysmal run defense, so they ran the ball. They had a drive that went 3 straight big run plays for a touchdown, and I was like, yeah, this is the recipe. Just keep doing that. I don't know why you wouldn't do that. And then on the very next kickoff, the Bills fumble it. And this is huge because what it does is it keeps Josh Allen off the field. Jacksonville is up 7-3. They have the ball after a fumbled kickoff, and they do not capitalize off of it. They turn it over on downs, and now the Bills have the ball, and they go 92 yards to take the lead back. That can't happen. I know it's early in the game, but when you have a chance to go up 14-3 on the Bills, and instead it turns into 10-7 in the Bills' favor, those are opportunities that you can't get back. And on that drive, I thought Josh Allen's throws outside the numbers were incredible. Perfectly placed. Jacksonville stuck with that zone defense, and he was able to layer it over to the sideline where receivers made good plays, and they scored a touchdown. After that, Jacksonville, I don't know if they got a little worried about being down or whatever, but they kind of went away from the run, which is weird because they scored that touchdown drive literally on 3 straight run plays, and then they wanted to pass the ball. You got to mix it up, but I think you should definitely keep running the ball against the Bills. The game is pretty close for the rest of the way, and then the Bills are down, and they're marching, and they're on Jacksonville's 11-yard line, and it's 4th and 1, and everybody knows what's coming. It's a Josh Allen QB sneak, right? They do that, they get the first, and then it's like, oh, he's still up. Oh, he's still going. And Josh Allen churns his feet. The Bills' offensive line kind of carries him a little bit, and you see this pile move down to the 1-yard line. And now there's about a minute left, and the Bills just immediately score a touchdown right after that, and then immediately get an interception on the next drive. Game over. We saw how valuable it is to have an elite quarterback in the NFL playoffs. The better quarterback won this game. It's similar to the Niners and Eagles game, right? Trevor Lawrence lost to Josh Allen, just like Jalen Hurts lost to Juwan Jennings. The better quarterback wins in the playoffs. That Eagles 49ers game, I would gladly eat crow on that. I said it was going to be a blowout in the Eagles' favor. Obviously, it was not. The 49ers won that game, and I am happy about that. Nick Sirianni, the head coach of the Eagles, when he was yelling at A.J. Brown, their receiver, on the sideline, that was just not a good look. I mean, I know A.J. Brown dropped that pass, and I know there's been some drama in Philadelphia, but seeing that live, you realized, oh yeah, there's something going on here. Because when they showed Nick Sirianni sprinting down the sideline, taking his headset off, I thought, oh, he's about to let the refs have it. Like, you see that a lot, where the head coaches, they sprint just to go yell at the refs, and then the camera pans, and he's yelling at A.J. Brown on live television. You gotta keep yourself composed. And that was pretty early in the game, too. And A.J. Brown did not do good after that. In fact, on the last drive, where they were trying to score a touchdown to win the game, A.J. Brown had a huge drop on that last drive. I know these are professional athletes, but they're human too. I think it's Nick Sirianni's job to instill confidence into his players. not to tear them down at the front of the sideline, like where everybody can see. That's just my opinion. For the 49ers side, that was insanely impressive. Did not see that coming. Beating the defending champs on the road with their 5th, 6th, and 7th linebackers is insane. I can't even tell you a single one of them right now. Actually, I can say Eric Kendricks because he's a veteran and I've seen him play before. He was elevated from the practice squad literally this week. I'm sure the other two were as well. I don't know who they were. I could probably just say like 2 or 3 players on the 49ers defense that I actually know. And Robert Saleh, that defensive coordinator, did his very best job at becoming a head coach again next season, because that was unbelievable, holding the Eagles to 19 points, and he wasn't even the best coach in this game. Kyle Shanahan was. It's pretty apparent that he's the coach of the year, in my opinion. What he's been able to do, drawing up plays, putting Kyle Juszczyk, the fullback, at tight end. George Kittle, so sad, tears his Achilles in this one early, and you felt the absence, but other players were able to step up, like Juszczyk. Juszczyk was literally a tight end in this game. He might be the best pass-catching fullback in NFL history. You can also say, actually, I want to pose this question: is Christian McCaffrey the best pass-catching running back in NFL history? He had a touchdown reception from Juwan Jennings. He had the game-winning reception from Brock Purdy. And he also, on that first scoring drive, they threw it to him over the middle, and he absolutely high-pointed the ball perfectly, comes down hard, and makes an excellent catch to put them at 1st and goal and eventually score a touchdown. I hear Marshall Faulk was a good receiver, so I'd love to hear anybody's thoughts on that if they remember watching him play. But CMC definitely has to be in the discussion, at least. Again, one of Kyle Shanahan's best games, one of Nick Sirianni's worst, and the 49ers come out on top in this one. What a game. Maybe one of the best games that I can remember and for the 49ers in the last 15 years, maybe. Just when you think about the situation, what they've been given, and the grit, maybe one of the best games in recent history for the 49ers. These first 4 games were unbelievable. They set a new NFL record for most fourth quarter lead changes in the Wildcard round at 12. That's pure cinema. That's averaging 3 lead changes in the fourth quarter every one of these games. Now, it was capped off with 2 snooze fests where both of the losing teams failed to score a touchdown. We'll start off with the Chargers and Patriots. This was just an offensive line disaster class. They started multiple drives in the fourth with a false start, and it made sense why they were trying to jump early because, man, Herbert, I know I shouldn't feel bad for him because he, goes home to Madison Beer and he's like living life and all that stuff, but man, watching him just get beat up for the entire game was really tough. So the offensive line either has to jump early or just get bulldozed, and Herbert can only look at one receiver every single time he drops back because he doesn't have enough time. And to cap it all off, on their last drive, it was 4th and 9 coming out of a timeout, and they call a play action. He takes a snap in shotgun. He fakes the handoff. And you're like, I don't think the Patriots think you're going to hand the ball off right now. And what that does, you already don't have enough time. Now your timing is even quicker, and it got blown up, obviously. I will say the Patriots won this game, but they look beatable. They made some mistakes. Drake May had some turnovers. The Chargers defense is pretty good. It's really good. But if the Patriots face a competent offensive line and a solid defense, it could be tricky. Then lastly, oh man, Texans and Steelers. I said this one was going to be a blowout. I was right eventually. I know it was close for most of the game, but it ended up being a blowout. I only got 2 of these games wrong, and they were the 2 that I wanted to be wrong. The 49ers and the Bills. So maybe I'm just a bad fan. Maybe I need to have more faith in my guys. Or maybe it was just an emotional hedge where I'm like, hey, I can say that they are going to lose, and then if I'm right, then I'm right, and if I'm wrong, then I'm happy. Maybe it was that. But this Texans defense was absolutely fantastic. 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Aaron Rodgers, oh man, the last play of his career might be a pick 6. That's tough. He's had a great career, and it might end on a pick 6 in the playoffs at home. But there was really poor quarterback play on both sides of this game. CJ Stroud, he had 2 fumbles on 1 play. He had a horrible interception in the red zone, but that defense held strong for him. Christian Kirk came up with some big plays, and they did exactly what was needed when it mattered most to win the game. And like the Rams, I think that works in the playoffs. It works. I'm super pumped for the divisional round. Stay tuned later this week for our preview of that. As a little sneak peek, let me answer this question from Jared. This was sent in on the Instagram, so please be sure to give that a follow. He says, do you see the 49ers beating the Seahawks? Oh boy. I don't know. But to all my Seahawks friends out there, you better win. There's I don't know if any of you have seen Monsters University, but there's a quote where the bully says to Mike Wazowski, when you lose, nobody will remember you. And then Mike Wazowski says, maybe, but when you lose, nobody will let you forget it. So, Seahawks, you better win at home. A dismantled 49ers team. Anyways, that's the show for today. We're going to get more into film and entertainment stuff in later episodes, but football is just so good right now. Remember to like, rate, and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment. You saw Steven and I responded to one on the show, so if you comment something, we might want to talk about it. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Do something fun. That's what this is. You know, I know this show isn't perfect, but I have a ton of fun, and it makes me happy. So I invite you to find something fun for yourself, and I will see you next time.